Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Randy and welcome to Randy's Scales and Tales. Brand new review and unboxing for us today, one that I'm incredibly excited for. Today's a very special episode because it's going to be the first time I get to feature this character on the channel, and she's one of my favorite characters of all time, and is none other than Asuna Yuki from Sword Art Online. I love that show. I know a lot of people have faults with later seasons, but I think the general consensus is that everybody really enjoyed season 1, myself included. But I've kind of enjoyed it throughout the entire duration. I still enjoy it to this day. So it is about damn time that we finally got a bunny figure for Asuna. Alright, so this is a special episode for two reasons. One, Asuna finally gets a feature. I have so many figures of her already, but I've had them way before I started my channel, so I haven't really gotten a chance to feature her at all. And two, it's going to be my first bunny review on the channel. I have some bunnies already. One was in my 2024 best of figures video, the Nagatoro bunny. However, I haven't actually unboxed one, did a full review, or anything like that. So, very excited to get into this one. So without further ado, let's check this one out together, shall we? I don't even think you can see the top of the box.
Nope.
Come on. There we go. Boom. There she is. Looks awesome already. Oh, can't wait. All right. All right, as tradition with freeing figures, it's just a plain glossy black disc. It's a little bit smaller than some of my other ones, thankfully, because I think honestly the freeing bases are way, I know these are big and heavy obviously, but they're bigger than my head sometimes, and it's just a figure standing perfectly upright. So I'm glad that this one's a little smaller. I'm gonna try and find room for her back there with the other ones. As tradition, there's always a layer of cling wrap almost to hold her in place on the top and the bottom. Very exciting stuff here. Alright, got some protective layers, especially around the hair that touches the body. A lot of the individual strands also have it, so they don't rub against each other in transit, so that's really good. And then her hand and arm. And a little bit between the ankles. Boop. All right, assembly for her should be really pretty straightforward. Foot into peg. Yo, I'm missing a piece. Ugh. There's gonna be another piece in here. Hopefully they didn't forget. Oh, there it is, okay. Yeah, I've had this happen with the Komi bunny. There was a separate metal plastic, or a plastic peg that you needed to put and use with the base. I don't know why they don't just keep it a part of the base. It's kind of funny, but while I'm here, I'll just take out all the things that we need. The bunny ears are stored separately in their own compartment here. Now we have everything we need to get this completed. Alright, I think I'm going to put this on her foot first. This should not be as hard as it is. I can't get this other foot.
It's the whole music.
Okay, that's actually a bit more challenging than I would have expected. So my recommendation is for this secondary plastic piece is to put it on the base first, start sliding her other leg into the metal peg, and then as it goes down, just slowly adjust this foot over this new peg that you've created, and then they should go together relatively simple after that, but it is a little challenging to get the proper alignment. But once you got it, it does go in pretty well. All right, now for the bunny ears. As usual, they have these plastic pegs that sit in the holes. All right, straight ear goes in this one. And the bent ear on this side. All right, so those go in really easily, thankfully. All right, here she is all fully assembled. Absolute monster of a figure as always with a quarter scale. Now that she's unboxed and assembled, let's head into the figure showcase. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Welcome back from the showcase, everyone. Hope you enjoyed. It is time to delve into the review portion of this one. I'm going to try and keep this video a little lighter. There's not as much craziness to go over in one of these figures. You kind of know what you're getting with a bunny, but I will obviously go throughout the entire figure and give my thoughts and feelings as we go through the review. We'll start at the base. As I said, pretty standard for freeing. It is a glossy black plastic. It's a glossy black plastic disc. Couple pegs, one metal peg that goes the furthest up the leg, and then 2 plastic pegs just for a little additional support. I do like that the base is a little smaller than some of the other bunny figures, especially because most of them are just standing upright, so they don't need to be, you know, bigger than my head. So this one's a little bit smaller, which is good, but it is still very, very boring, and I hate that it's glossy. Just from the little bit of touching I've done to get the figure on the base, there are fingerprint smudges everywhere. So the base gets no additional points from me. It doesn't detract so much, but it also doesn't add any points whatsoever. Shoes are a nice, shiny, glossy, almost glittery black. There's definitely like a hint of glitter within the shoes. A lot of freeing bunnies do have that. As you move up, you of course have the real fishnet leggings, and mine have no tears or rips or anything, so that's awesome. The tights came out really well. No problems with them. Yeah, the tights look fantastic. I can't really comment on the skin tone too much, of course, like in terms of shading on the legs, but I can clearly see that it is a little bit darker around her hips, where her thighs and hips meet in that bend, it is a little darker. So clearly they did do a little bit of shading underneath the leggings. So if there's like a bare leg bunny version at some point in the future, it'll probably have that same paint application. I love this bunny suit. Like, it is a very standard bunny suit, and I am a little bummed that it's just black. Asuna's colors, primarily, when you think of Asuna, you usually typically think of white and red for her Knights of the Blood outfit that she had from season 1. Black has never really been her color. So that is probably the biggest detractor for me with this figure, is just the color, but I actually love the cut of the bunny suit. It is a little bit different than all the other ones. It's a really high cut up here on the hip. So the cut really accentuates her hips and her butt pretty damn well. And then that really deep cut on the hips kind of transfers over into a really high cut on her butt. So in terms of visual appeal, it's fantastic. My bunny suit came out perfect. There are no flaws within the paintwork of the suit. It's actually very, very similar to the shoes. So it's a very high gloss black with little glitter flecks throughout. So when it's in this kind of like bright lighting, the glitter just pops and shines and shimmers, and it does look really, really cool. I do love that they accentuated her hips, which is a little different for bunny figures, and didn't make her boobs absolutely massive watermelons like they can sometimes do. That's probably one of my biggest complaints with, or one of my bigger complaints with freeing bunnies, is that they just way over exaggerate the chest of most female characters, and it's so unrealistic and so crazy. Hers are definitely still a good size, but they're not over the top in my opinion. So they did a good job there. I'll just get this out of the way so I don't have to talk about it every time we get to one of these pieces. So all these black pieces that I've talked about, the suit, the shoes, these arm cuffs, and the back of the ears, and the front, and the black part of the ears basically, they're all that shimmery, glittery black color, which just always looks good, especially in good lighting. And through this whole thing, I just realized there's a small, I don't even know if you'll be able to see it. I don't really think so. But there's a small piece of styrofoam wedged in between this wrist cuff and her hair. There we go. Oh man, I wonder how long I could have potentially left that in there. Alright, so now that we've talked about the outfit, let's just move on to some of the other aspects of this figure. So we'll talk about the paintwork of the skin. So there's not a heck of a lot of skin. Obviously her legs are fully covered, but you can see a little bit of shading on the thigh there. They did do some shading within the skin of her. So like around the armpit area where her hand is lifted, it's a lot pinker, and then it shades out into that lighter skin tone that you see throughout. There's a little bit of pink hue and shading around creases on the elbow joint of both arms. They both have it. Around her shoulder area, there's a little bit of pink as well. So all in all, they did a pretty good job on the paintwork. Freeing figures often don't have too much shading. You kind of pay for the grandness of it all, but they sometimes kind of hold back on the smaller details. But they did a pretty good job with Asuna, I will say. I'd say that there's a bit more shading here than some of my older freeing figures. So from what I've been seeing of their new stuff coming out, it seems like they're kind of raising their bar a little bit, probably because of all the steep competition that started in the quarter scale market. Maybe not so much on the bunny side. I think they're still primarily the ones doing quarter scale bunnies, but there are other manufacturers doing it, and they look better, and there's more details and shading, and they often come at a lower price point or similarly priced, but even sometimes less than. So I think they're trying to up their game. Healthy competition is good, is really the moral of the story. So hopefully their figures continue to get a little bit better and better. And some of the new ones that were announced at Smile Fest looked really nice. So let's hope, cross our fingers, that they start doing a better job like this Asuna here for most of their figures going forward. Moving on to her face, I think they did a good job, but not a perfect job. It definitely looks like Asuna, but I have other Asuna figures that look more like Asuna. So they did good, not fantastic. There's nothing inherently wrong that I could call out about the face. I don't think it's anything that bad to be like, oh God, this is wrong, this is wrong. It's just it's so close. It's almost there. It is still a good face, and it is still obviously Asuna. So they did good there. The eyes, as always, are just flat. There isn't a gloss finish to the eye decals, but I don't expect that from the freeing figures. And there's just a little bit of lipstick around her very small smile, but it's not prominent. It's not a huge amount of lipstick. It's just enough to highlight mostly the lower lip. I don't personally see any shading or blush or anything like that on the face, so it is just very flat. It would have been great to get some blush or something to bring the face a little more alive. Now, one of the big things with Asuna is going to be her hair. Love her hair, always have, loved how long and flowy it is. And Freeing did a good job capturing a lot of dynamicism, a lot of flow to the hair. So I do appreciate that quite a bit. A lot of their hair sculpts have been very flat and basic in the past. And I like that they did a little bit more with this. There's more action to it. And there's actually shading to her hair. It is lighter, honestly, than I would expect. I think Asuna's hair is usually more of a darker, dirty blonde, brown. They went with a very much lighter color tone here and a lighter color palette, but there's shading in this hair, which I can't say for the large majority of the other freeing figures I have that are just flat hair color, no shading whatsoever. There are different shades of this lighter blonde, dirty blonde. Huge thumbs up. Huge thumbs up for the shading. I love that they finally started doing some of that with the hair. The hair sculpt is pretty sharp. Lots of individual flowing strands, which is great. They did really great work on the ponytail portion. And the braid that runs along the side of her head to the back that goes to this ponytail, the braids are present and there. The sculpt just kind of looks a little weak. Like, it's obviously there, you can't miss it, but I just feel like the sculpt work of that could have been a little sharper. And then as you move to the very top of her head, it is so plain on the top. It's so interesting. It's so weird that all, like her bangs and everything even, have a lot of sculpt work to really call out all the different parts. And then you get behind the headband and you get like this little squiggly line of on the top of her head for the, like the part, I guess. But then it's just kind of like smooth. Like a almost like just a smooth shaved bald head. And then as you get close to the ponytail, you start to get a little bit of sculpt work for some striations in the hair. But the very top is just so smooth. It's kind of off-putting, but honestly, you're rarely going to see the top of her head. As I was taking one final look, I did want to comment a little bit on her hands. So every finger is sculpted on this figure. With Asuna, that every finger, both on this hand and the hand that's reaching behind her, every finger individually sculpted. Every fingernail has, it's not really like a colored nail polish, but there is some shine to the fingernails, which is really great. I gotta hand it to Freeing. I think they did a good job on this one. Round of applause, Freeing. Good job. I like this a lot. Thankfully, because Asuna is such an important character to me, and if they really fumbled this, oh, I would have been so devastated. But honestly, I think they did a really good job. Just those small nitpicks that I talked about, and then really just the color of the suit. All right, let's move into the score. What do I want to give Asuna as a final score?
5 minutes later.
I give Freeing's Asuna quarter scale bunny a final score of 8.75 out of 10. Alright, that'll do it for me today. Be sure to drop a comment down below letting me know what you think of this figure, if you plan on maybe picking her up, or anything else Sword Art Online related, or any other Asuna figures that you really love. I have a huge Asuna collection that I'd love to maybe show off at some point. One of these days, if I ever have time, not just doing new figures that are coming out. So one of these days maybe, we'll see. But let me know. I would love to talk about Asuna some more with you guys down in the comments. If you enjoy the content I'm putting out there, please feel free to like, subscribe, comment, share, any of those YouTube-y things. Help me out with that YouTube algorithm. I'd greatly appreciate it. But if you don't want to, that's totally fine. Thank you so much for joining me along this journey on this one. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.